Today I would like to talk about the NIC talk by our monks. They went to North Idaho College. So other than this big I that we always have, there's 3 I that happened there. It was an intimate space, the first I, where there are about 25 people. It was interactive. There were questions, answers, sharings, meditation sessions, and discussion. And also it was inspiring to see that we are there, and then we give them the support. So I thought I would just talk about that. So at the end of the event, I went to one of the participants and I said, "Hey, thank you for coming. It's great to see you." And she said the impression that she took away was just like me. So just like me is not having this pair of eyes, nose, ears, but just like me, they want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. So we term happiness in different ways, but the fundamental basis is that we all just want to be happy and not suffer. So the discussion actually came up during the talk about friends, enemies, and strangers, and how we actually box them up into the different categories. So the thought that came up was suffering is suffering, no matter who it belongs to, it has to be removed. And where does this suffering come from? It's from the mind. So it goes back to the Lamrim meditation on mind is actually the source of happiness and pain. So the mind doesn't just pop up something like, oh, that's suffering. Oh, I want that person to be my enemy. So where does that come from? It's from all our proliferations, all our stories that we create. And then it becomes like, oh, this is my friend, this is my enemy, or these are strangers. So one of the things that came up during Venerable Seppel's teaching on transforming problems into joy and courage, happiness, thank you, is seeing the kindness of others. So I was often told outside, like in the outside world before I was ordained, like, hey, you are naive. Why do you always give people a benefit of doubt? So it's like, okay, you need to have this protective wall. But I realized that that creates a kind of distance. There's this barrier between me and them, and it's like, kind of get suspicious about people. You tend to be more wary of people, which is not very helpful. So I choose to give them the benefit of doubt. And through that, we can see that we all have the shared experience. We have the shared humanity. And the problem only comes when we start exaggerating all our differences, like, oh, they are like that, I am like that. And these differences will lead to discrimination, leads to war, and even the comparing mind, like simple things like, oh, this person is so good, I'm like that. So that is actually one of the antidotes to the comparing mind, which to seeing the sameness of each other instead of exaggerating all our differences. So during the teachings, another thing that came up was pride. And pride comes up in many ways. For me as well, it's like, oh, I notice in myself, that's pride. And then before I went to the Chinese school, I was actually in a Catholic school. So in the Chinese school, they actually taught us a lot on Confucius teaching, Lao Tzu teachings. And then one of the teachings that were emphasized was filial piety and being humble. So what it was mentioned was you can learn from everyone, every person, every experience, every situation. So you can be in a mess in that situation, you get afflicted, but after that you have to come back and see like, hey, what's my behavior at that time? What was I thinking? And then apologize if you need to and learn from it. So that was something that was taught in that kind of Chinese school. So during the NIC talk, I learned about the experiences of the participants. They were sharing with me about how they were applying the Dharma at work and how they can use the sameness back at their work now. So I thought that was really inspiring, like, oh, we did something for them. And then I also learned to just listen and send metta to them, like just being there, listening to their stories. And I think Venerable Sam K told me before, like, oh, they would just blah everything. And I was like, okay, I'll be patient and really listen to them, what's going on. And I thought that was really nice. So there's so much more to learn, and it's just never ending. Another thing that I learned was this sense of giving. And this came up when I was like so-called monastery hopping. I learned from different monastics this sense of giving. So you offer praises. When you are given praises, you offer them to the three jewels, because without them, you can't do virtues. So how do you know what are virtues, what are non-virtues? It comes from the Dharma. So when you get praise, offer it, and that helps to reduce pride. And also, all the virtues that we've done, when we see the kindness of others, we can also offer them to the Buddha. And then it will also help to decrease pride and the comparing mind, the jealousy. So I use those when that kind of mind comes up. So in the NIC talk, one of the things that I thought of was we could offer our friends to the Buddha. Like, oh, I hope that they will be blessed by the Buddha and one day they get inspired and they can join us in this path. And then for strangers, it's like, they haven't met the Buddha's teaching, so maybe one day the causes and conditions will ripen, and then they can join us too. And for enemies, it's like, who can take care of them better than the Buddha? I can't do it. That's why they are my enemies. So I offer them to the Buddha. So yeah, so that's one way that we can actually try to iron it out and see them as all equal instead of boxing them up. So just being like, seeing the kindness of others is something that I'm just working on for this comparing mind. And then, and also being open to it. Like you can see the kindness of others by when they smile to another person, when they help in different ways. It's a form of kindness, maybe not to me, but at least they are kind in certain ways. So you don't see them as, oh, they are always bad. There's no bad person. Just the nature of Buddha nature in them. They are never bad. So what I'm working on is also like seeing the kindness of them and being open if there's any miscommunications, if there's difficult situations, just go back to them and then just keep the heart open. So it's like anyone can come up to talk to you and you're still open with it. So I thought that is something that's kind of nice. So to end it all, I was thinking about this kindness begets kindness, and then maybe also continue to create this kind of kindness, seeing everyone's kindness in different ways, how they help each other in different ways, whether just remembering that all of us have this Buddha nature in us, and then we continue this aspiration to create a kinder world. Thank you.